All right. Hello and welcome to the final SC1 Factory team call of 2025. Can you believe that we are at the end of this year, getting ready to roll into 2026? Hopefully, you are building your dreams, whether it is fast or whether it's just one small step at a time. That's what this is all about. We're here to do it together. So make sure that you subscribe to Team Fruit and Reigns on YouTube because that is where these recordings go for this call every single week, as well as opportunity presentations that we've been doing pretty regularly. So you can go there through the QR code that's on the screen right now. And we have this call every Tuesday night. We've got something special starting next week. So we hope that you'll all join us for that call starting next week. And you'll hear all about it at the end of today. So we're going to talk a little bit more about Activate 90 because you still have about a day to be able to qualify to be part of this. Now, everybody has access to the first part, which is the app and the tracker and the accountability for your goals moving into 2026, for your wellness, and even for your financial. So this is a side of the LifeVantage app that will be available for all active customers and consultants to be able to help you track your health goals and hold you accountable. Now, if you have 200 in new sales volume in the month of December, you're also going to have access to 90 days of live training from contracted professionals that corporate's paying for, as well as select LifeVantage presidentials that will be doing business training for you. You're going to be able to get your questions answered live. This is a huge investment that LifeVantage is putting into each and every one of us that get that 200 in new sales volume in the month of December. If you haven't done it yet, you still have time. Now with 600 in new sales volume, which we have several of you that have done that this month, you will receive that access to the 90 days of live training, but you're also going to get the next product that LifeVantage is going to be rolling out from LoveBiome's category or catalog, Phyto X, for free. So this is basically Axio on steroids. So pre-workout, days that you know that you have a lot of physical activity happening, you can get this for free. It's going to be rebranded Axio X in February and available to everybody. But you're also going to be receiving 10 early points for the Achievers mini trip that is going to be announced at the January Global Kickoff virtual event. So you still have time, guys. Don't ever give up your goals when there's still time on the clock. And we've got over 30 hours or, something like that before the end of the month, end of the year. So Activate 90, make sure that you're going for that. Also, this is something else that's going to be running out at the end of December is the opportunity to be able to get the Healthy Edge Stack paired with the Mind Body System at 25% savings of the products off of the individual pricing package. If you set it in December, you can also get it on subscription for that discounted price in January. This is a huge opportunity for you to be able to close out this next day and a quarter, utilizing this as an opportunity for new customers, new consultants, and even current customers and consultants to be able to get this savings and set them up for the best success for their New Year goals. And if they're not interested in all three of those products together, Mind Body, the system, is also being offered for 20% off of the regular GLP-1 system price. Again, you put it on subscription in December. Even though we're past the 25th, you can set up a subscription and push that, process now option and have it run in January and get that same discounted price in the month of January as well. Now, speaking more about the January 10th virtual event, the Breakthrough Kickoff for Global Kickoff, you want to make sure that you are registered. You can go into your back office and get registered through the quick links at the bottom of your replicated web page. Get registered and then search out a watch party that you can participate or host your own. Invite people to come, hang out with you, and learn about what's happening in 2026 in LifeVantage. Trips announcements, there's going to be all kinds of different stuff that is going to be coming to you live at the virtual event. And if you are anywhere near us here in Arizona, even if you are in Utah or within driving distance, we would love to have you join us here at our house. We will be meeting at 9:30 in the morning and plan on going till at least 12:30. Depending on what activities we decide to participate in. So if you're anywhere near us, you are absolutely invited to join us for this virtual event. We would love to have you join us. So I am hoping that Dondee is going to be able to hop on here with us soon. Hi, Carol. Hi, Emmy. Thank you for so much for joining us tonight. So glad to have you on here live. So we're going to be talking about closing out the year. Okay, we want to make sure that we look at this year and we realize, first of all, that it's not over. There's a lot that you can still do in the next day and a quarter, right? And we want you to be able to do maybe a little self-evaluation of what the past year has been. Maybe there's some goals that you hit and you completely smashed them and you blew them out of the water, and you should be celebrating those successes. Or maybe you didn't quite get there, or you've got a ways to go to hitting that goal that you had set for 2025. Well, guys, you have to know where you've come from before you can know where you need to go, right? So that's why it's important to look at this past year, not to be hard on yourself, not to put yourself down, not to have any negative feelings about it, but to be able to have that starting point to be able to move into 2026. So closing out the year is really what the topic is here for tonight. But we're also going to be talking a lot about Atomic Habits, this book by James Clear. So first of all, if you have the book, put it in the comment section. If you've read it, put it in the comment section. Let me know that. And if not, you're going to want to get this book for something we're going to be doing over the next 6 weeks, okay? So let's get into closing out the year with Atomic Habits. So first of all, as I was just talking about, you know, the results of where you are right now at this point in 2025, with that day and a quarter that's left for you to keep pushing forward towards those goals. Well, looking at the past, 11 months and 30 days, to see where you're at and what your results came from. So your results are the output of habits that you have. So maybe you have had great habits. You've gotten up, you've gotten yourself started, you've been consistent in your actions every single day, and you can see that that is what led you to the success that you're celebrating right now, right? Or maybe you're looking at your habits of, oh, I really set out to have a better morning routine, and I really meant to take better physical care of myself. I really meant to, walk more frequently and get those steps, or I really meant to do those invitations, and I did really good for the first few weeks of the year, or I've done it good some days, but most days not, right? So the results that you are experiencing right now are the output of your habits. So it's kind of the reaping what you sow. So the sowing is the actions or the habits that you've had, and the reaping is what the results are from those actions. So 2025 results didn't happen by accident. Whether you were intentional or you just let things go, all of it came from decisions and habits. Because habits, when a lot of the times when we talk about them, people think that only about positive, good habits, right? But do you know that the things that you don't do, that you really should do, is also based off of habit? Think about that for a second. When you don't do what you know you should do, you actually have habits around that are reinforcing you not doing it. I know that's such a lot to comprehend, right? Well, guys, this is something that we're going to really focus on, because we want you to know that your compounded effect of daily habits is what either gets you what you want or leaves you wishing you had done what you should have done, right? So some of the habits that we've had have moved us forward towards the goals in 2025, accomplishing them, but then some habits slowed us down or prevented us from actually getting to where we wanted to be. So this is where we really have to decide. If we want different in 2026, we must install different habits now, okay? Before we let 2026 get away from us like 2025 may have. We have to make the decision that we want something different. Put different in the comments if that is something that you want. Do you want something different in 2026 than what you've gotten out of 2025? And just be honest. I mean, I know that we want completely different. We want so much more than what we actually achieved and got out of 2025. But looking back on that and doing that self-evaluation that we're challenging you to do for yourselves, we see where our habits and the lack of setting good habits and creating and cultivating good habits sabotaged us. So through our own choices, through our own habit development that was a negative, we sabotaged ourselves in accomplishing and reaching the goals that we really wanted to reach. So when we're looking here at the eye structure on the right hand side of this slide, it was really interesting because we were looking at it and it's like, so there's the results that you can see up at the top, right? Whether it's accomplishing the great goal or whether it's not meeting the measure, right? The part that you can see above the water there is so much more down below it that goes into it for you to be able to get what you want out of something. So it starts with your habits, and your habits really are daily actions, consistency in your work actions, in your systems, your discipline, your mindset, your persistence, your determination. I mean, we could go on and on and on. These are all things that go into the habits that help you build up who you need to be and the muscle and the energy behind what you do to be able to accomplish the results that you want. Now, those habits are going to show up in different forms. And this is the center part there. This is going to be showing up in freedom, right? Being able to see yourself accomplishing the things that you want, having more time freedom, having more financial freedom. How about rank advancements? When you have successful habits and you're consistent with them through your daily actions, your consistent work ethic, your discipline, your mindset, your persistence, all of it, determination, your stick-to-itiveness, everything, right? That's when you'll start to see the rank advancements. That's where you start to see the income increase and you see success in everything around you. And then those are the results that you start to see at the top of the water. And so it was really interesting because when we first, the only other time that I've really seen this picture depicted, it's only been the results on top and how much people don't see that it takes to get there, right? But really, with this three-part is such a better picture of it because the habits that you put into place, you never really know how long it's going to take doing those habits to start to see some of the things that are in between for yourself. That you just might be able to start seeing, oh, somebody said yes to taking a look at the opportunity, or somebody said yes to becoming my customer, or I have started to see a difference in my physical appearance because of the habits that I'm developing. Those are the things that you personally can start to see that maybe up top the results aren't showing to everybody else. So I actually like this example in this photo even better than ones that I've seen previously because it really is true that those habits that you develop in private also show up with your successes in private before everybody else can see those results. So it's just a matter of making the right decision and wanting different. So Joe, I see that you want different. Carol, I see that you want more. And I just want to welcome Mary Ellen too. Thanks for hopping in here with us, Mary Ellen. So why do atomic habits matter? Why do habits in the first place really even matter? Because the habits that we're developing aren't going to be like these huge changes, because if you just try to make huge changes right off the bat, most of the time you give up on yourself. Or when it comes to your physical fitness, things that I've experienced is I either injure my feet, I get way too sore, or I just don't have the energy to continue, right? And so I kind of pretty much sabotage myself in moving forward with these habits. And so the reason why atomic habits or small habits, these tiny changes, are important is because it's the tiny changes that we put together accumulatively for a long enough period of time that will result in the massive changes that we really want. And welcome, Dondee. I'm so glad that you're on here. As soon as you're ready, I will just pass this over to you. You tell me if you're ready now. But I just got started on this slide just talking about why atomic habits matter. Would you like to take over?
Yeah, thanks, Marcy.
Yeah,
Sorry
no,
about that. We had a new patient walk in right before we closed.
that's okay. We're good.
So yes, the whole thing about atomic habits is it's small habits, tiny changes create massive results if you stick with them. And so small habits compound over time. The key here is consistency. And if you see from this graphic, if you are just 1% better every day for a year, you are almost 38 times better than when you started the year prior. And it's just small changes, and they can be in anything, whether or not it's your confidence in an invite, your confidence in a follow up, your confidence in using tools or learning where the tools are, the confidence in learning how to use boards. And if it's just 1%, so it's not a major change, it's one very slight improvement every day compounds on the next, and 1% better every day creates exponential growth the more consistent you are. And so the thing about goals is they don't change your behavior. Systems do, because goals are the carrot that's dangled, but the system is the process that you implement to get to the carrot that's been dangled. And we spend most of our time focusing on goals when we should establish the goals and then focus on the system that's going to get you there. That's super, super important. And it doesn't have to be major changes, slight changes every single day. And then your identity drives your consistency. So the whole thing about consistency, the more consistent you are, the more confidence you have. The more confidence to have, the more you are comfortable in your own identity. And then you start making massive, massive changes, and you start seeing massive, massive results in your business. So we don't rise to our goals. We literally fall to our habits, meaning we set goals, we get inspired, we get encouraged. But if we don't have the systems in place, that enthusiasm will wane very quickly. And case in point, in 2 days, we're going to be in January. Do you realize that gym owners are banking already on their predictability of every single year prior that people will make a massive decision? My goal is to get in shape. My goal is to bench press 200 pounds. My goal is to lose 50 pounds, whatever it is, health related. And they have the goal, a lofty goal, a little goal, get in better shape, and they don't even define the goal. But what happens is when they get into it, if there's no system in place, there's no continuity, by January 17th, think about this, January 1st, people have New Year's resolutions. By January 17th, and I've talked about this before, you may even know what I'm about to say, January 17th is National Ditch New Year's Resolutions Day, because they didn't put the system in place. They have the goal, and even LifeVantage, what do we have? The no resolution revolution. Because when you put the systems in place, in other words, you change your habits 1% better every day, you don't have to worry about resolutions because you're going to achieve them. The no resolution revolution falls right in line with this 1% better every single day. And it's the system that carries you, not the goal, no matter how lofty or how great it seems to be. Okay, go ahead. Next slide, Marcy.
Well, one thing I wanted to say about this is the tiny changes, why it's so important to do those tiny changes too. It goes back to what I was talking about on the previous slide, how oftentimes when I set a goal, I go out and I go gung ho and I go and I try to do my max and I try to be in the gym for a certain amount of time, or I try to walk 3 miles on my first day or in my first week. And then because I tried to do too much at a time, I either got overwhelmed, overworked, or injured. And that took me off of the game. And so it's another reason why it's so important to do the tiny changes. And then on top of that, to have the right identity, deciding who you want to be when you get to where you want it to be is so important, because when you start thinking from that posture and from that mindset, it's also going to help anchor in these atomic habits and the tiny changes that you're making. So now I'll move you forward.
So accurate, Marcia. In fact, I had a patient today that came in. Her goal was to walk 100 miles in 100 days. Well, she's done 40 miles in the last 5 days. So that's not a 1% change. And guess why she came in? Because she was tore up from the floor up. Every muscle in her body was aching because she walked 40 miles in 5 days. And that's an average of 8 miles a day, which is pretty lofty, but not if your body's not ready for it. Same thing with goals. If your calendar or your mindset or your work ethic is not ready for lofty goals, unless that system is in place, it's not going to happen. So just kind of reiterating what Marci just said. So the habit loop, this is super critically important. And where this came from is from an author by the name of Charles Duhigg. He talks about the 4 laws of habits and what creates them. So a cue, for example, one of the cues, let's say you're driving down the road and you see a Starbucks logo. And you know what Starbucks is notorious for. So the cue is your eyes seeing the logo. And then what that creates is a craving for coffee. The coffee craving creates the response, whether you go through the drive-thru or you walk in, and then the reward is you order the coffee. That is how habits are built. So good habits are developed this way. You have a cue. It creates a craving or a desire or a wanting, which creates the response, which is the action, which gives you the reward, which is what the goal was initially, and then it anchors in a following cue. So that's the feedback loop or the 4 laws of habits. But the way to do this is 1, the cue, make it obvious, meaning right there in front of you. So if your goal and your system is to get in shape, make it obvious. Put your running shoes and your gym clothes at the foot of your bed. So when you get out of bed, the first thing you see is your running shoes and your gym clothes. That's how you can make it obvious. Make it attractive. Put a picture of the physique that you want on your mirror of your bathroom. So when you put your running shoes on and you put your gym clothes on and you actually go out for a run and you go to the gym, that craving is the goal. You see the goal on the mirror. That's the goal. That's the body that I want to get into, which is the response. You lace up the shoes, you put on the gym clothes, and you hit the road and you go for a run, because the reward is when you actually achieve that craving. You achieve that body shape, or you achieve that weight level, whatever it is for you. And this is how it works. So make it obvious, make it attractive, which is the craving. Make it easy. So how is it easy? You put your gym clothes and your shoes on your bed, so you don't have to go looking for them, because one shoe may be in the closet, the other shoe may be downstairs, the workout clothes may be in the laundry. So if you make it easy, you don't have to go looking for it. And when you make it easy, it's going to happen. And then the reward, make it satisfying. In other words, make it big enough so that it's going to be worth your time and your investment and the system that it's going to take to get there. So this is where the 4 laws of habits are and how habits are built. And we'll talk when we get into the book review. I'm not sure if Marci already mentioned this, but we'll talk about how to break bad habits too, because it's just the reverse of this situation here. And if anything you want to chime in, Marci, go ahead. So the SC1 factory, we're not going to abandon the SC1 factory because it's the foundational rank, and that is the key to every single rank in this entire compensation plan that we have. So the SC1 factory is the habit engine, and business growth is a daily practice. Whether it's 5 minutes a day is better than 2 hours on Saturday. Even though the 2 hours on Saturday is much more time, it's the daily habit. Even if it's just 5 minutes a day, is much better than a big dose of time one day a week. So the business growth is a daily practice. SC1 does not require talent. In fact, many people that are at high ranks of this company, all the way to the presidential ranks, in some levels, you may look at it and go, well, I'm more talented than them in that. So it doesn't take talent. What it takes is a goal, a system in place, and daily consistent effort that is just tiny effort. That's what it really takes. It requires consistency. And you've heard about this, many times before, but it's one of the universal laws of success is consistency, and invitations over motivation. So don't wait to be motivated. Extend the invitations out. And this is where your why comes in. When the bigger your why, the more emotionally attached and extrinsic and extrinsic motivators you will implement. Rather than waiting for yourself to get implemented or get motivated, you're just going to extend invitations because they're easier than waiting to be motivated. And then follow-ups over inspiration. Don't wait to be inspired to follow up on an invitation you sent out. Just do it. Make it a habit. And this is where tracker and tracking sheets come into play. And I didn't tell Marci about this. I created a tracking sheet for this. And sorry, babe, I didn't tell you when I left this morning. But I do have a tracker sheet for this, so we can implement that when we're on the call next week. And then systems over willpower. Because if you don't have a system in place, then you're either, 1, leaving it up to your memory, or 2, you're leaving it up to your motivation. Because one of the things about willpower, hence January 17th being Ditch New Year's, or the National ditch New Year's resolutions days, what happens? People run out of willpower because they don't achieve the results, or they're too sore, they didn't plan ahead, or they don't have a system in place, or the goal was too lofty, and they just, after 17 days, when they've got 340 something left to achieve the goal, they bow out and they throw in the flag. And that happens constantly. And then identity over hustle. So this is kind of where your why. Who do you want to become? Why are you doing this? Identify that part of your identity, and then worry about how you're going to get out there and hustle. Because if you don't have true solidity in who you are, and you don't have it really defined in what you're going after, you can have all the hustle in the world, but it's not going to go in any direction. You're going to be just kind of just spinning your wheels.
So when we're talking about the identity here, like for me, who I want to be is, I want to be strong. I want to be energetic. I want to be the grandmother that can outrun her grandkids, right? I want to be inspired so that I can inspire. I want to be focused. I want to be impactful. So it's like, these are the types of the identity things that we're really looking for here, is for you to really decide, who do you want to be? I want to be a freaking amazing leader, right? I want to be able to help others see themselves for who they truly are. I want to be someone that can inspire someone else to do things that they never thought was possible, right? So who do you want to be? And I would tell you, it's like, yes, I would love for us to hit presidential, but that's not my identity. That's not where my identity lies, right? So who do you want to be? I want to be the best representative of Jesus Christ that I can be. Who do you want to be? Who do you want to be? Right? So really think about that, because it's from that identity that you're going to start moving forward into these, micro habits, the atomic habits that we're going to be talking about.
Absolutely. So the 1Q, that stands for first quarter of 2026, the Atomic Habits game plan. So kind of think of it this way. Think about early momentum. If you win the quarter, and the quarter being January, February, March, if you win in that area, you get your confidence, you get results, you get feedback from other people, you start getting leadership skills developed, and you start developing a team. That's going to carry that momentum through the other third and fourth quarters of the year. So start with that, and the daily connection habit. So 5 to 10 reach outs per day. Now, this doesn't have to be a complete invite where you send a video out. This could just starting a conversation. And one of the greatest things to do, and this is just one of the key things to do, especially in the first part of the new year, is open your phone list, and start in the A's. And anybody who you haven't talked to in a long time, send out is this still Aaron, Aaron, is this still Aaron's phone number? And you don't even need to say who you are, because if they're in your phone and you're in their phone, they will know who it is. And they'll usually say yes. And it's like, awesome, I'm really excited. What have you been up to? It's a great way to start a conversation. And it's also a great way to get rid of some people that have been in there forever that's no longer their number. If somebody says, no, sorry, no longer Aaron's number, then you can erase Aaron, and then just go all the way through your phone list. And I will tell you, if you've been doing this long enough, or you've had a phone for longer than a year, you probably have several hundred, probably even several thousand names in your phone book. But start there with a daily connection, 5 to 10 reach out, starting conversations. And then your weekly exposure habit. Now, this is the personal one, to build you personally. So tools, training tools, training calls, whether it's the corporate calls, this call that we do every Tuesday, and then the replays if you can't get on the live call. So you need to build your own habits and constantly be developing your own habits while you're building a business. And that's why one of the reasons when Marci and I kind of brushed the dust off of the Atomic Habits and both started listening to it, said, and it was actually Marci, I'll give her full credit. We need to do this as a training for the team, because the book is gold. It is absolute gold, and it's super, super easy to implement. But the weekly exposure habit is for you. Constantly be training your own skills. And then your follow-up habit, 48 to 72 hours after you've extended an invite, the follow-up is, what did you like best about what you saw? What did you like best about what you heard? What did you like best about that video I sent you? Or whatever it is, within 48 to 72 hours, for two reasons. One, If you wait longer than 72 hours, then the urgency is gone. And the perceived importance of the person who you extended the invitation to is also gone. That if you're really excited and talking about it, but you don't follow up within 48 to 72 hours, the person's be thinking, well, it must not have been that important. They haven't even followed up. And trust me, that's what they're thinking. So don't let it go longer than 48 hours. And I would even change that to 24 to 72 hours. Now, it may be if you send it out and then 30 minutes later you're calling them, it may be a little premature. But unless you warrant or unless you told them in advance, I'm going to send you a video. It's 7 minutes long. It's super important that you watch it. I'm going to call you in 10 minutes. Something like that is okay. That for a 10-minute follow-up, but make it within a window of 42 to 72 hours, or 48 to 72 hours, so you don't go beyond that. And then your daily product use and your story habits, do it in public. As many of our products as you can, use them in public. In fact, today, when I was on my lunch, one of the patients that came in, I was just finishing. I took out a peach Axio and I poured it in my bottle. She smelled it because I saw a patient coming around. I did the Axio puff, got the whiff into the air. She goes like, oh, what's that? And so I'm going to be calling her tonight. So her name is Penny Alvarez. Turns out she's an accountant, and we'll be looking maybe for an accountant. She's really excited about our product. So now obviously in the office, I'm not supposed to do that because I'm an employee at the place, but it started a conversation. It was public use of one of our most amazing and sampleable products. And your story, use it on people. Tell people, hey, you start a conversation. Hey, do you mind if I tell you my story? You know, you don't come right out of it. I mean, you don't want to go for marriage before you've had your first date. But if you're talking to somebody, start the conversation cordially, and then get into your story when appropriate. But do it often. And then lastly, the weekly recognition habit. Celebrate your wins. Celebrate your team's wins. Celebrate your brand new people, especially, because one of the greatest ways to acknowledge people and give people a really good feeling about themselves is celebrate them, honor their victories, and reward their effort, not just enrollments. Now, obvious, reward the enrollments, celebrate the enrollments. But if they don't have enrollments, if you see they're making invites and you're having conversations, reward their effort, because eventually those efforts and the invites and the follow-ups are going to turn into enrollments, which is going to give you something to follow up about, but also celebrate the action.
Mm. Yeah, and by the way, guys, when you're celebrating the actions, keep in mind that high-fiving yourself gives you the same response as if there's someone else there to high five. Now, if there is somebody else there to high five them, because they're going to get the same benefits of the high five as what you're going to be getting for celebrating. It's going to reinforce to you through your brain what you have been doing, those habits, the actions you're taking, and it's going to make your brain want to do more of it. Celebrating is one of your most powerful tools. I would say even, one of your most powerful, I don't want to call it a weapon. Your superpowers. You can have these celebration moments. It will take you 30 seconds and it will cement in the behaviors that you are doing, and your brain is going to encourage you to do more of them. So add more celebration in to all of these habits that you are creating.
Absolutely. Thank you, Marci. And then the year-end power move. So close out 2025 by opening 2026 in grand fashion. So reconnect with everybody that's been in your list. And so everyone you've invited, whether you've given them a sample, whether you've given them an invite, whether you've sent them a video, or whether you've sent them a tool because they had questions after the invite, whatever it is, get reconnected with them. And there's no better way to do it. There's no better reason to do it than January 1st is just 2 days away. And don't wait till January 1st. Start tonight and into tomorrow so we can, again, close out 2025 by opening 2026 with a bang. And then your customers, your guests, your observers, your maybes, your people you send samples to, etc. And ask one simple question. And then no pressure, just service. There's no pressure. There's no strings attached. You're just following up because, one, you care about them, their physical health, their financial health, or both, based on something that you know or something you've communicated with them or they've communicated with you. And timing beats convincing. There's no sales pitch here. You're doing it for them. It's the entire reason to do this. So it's not a sales pitch. Timing is critically important. And timing meaning the rest of today, tomorrow before January 1 hits is the greatest time to start these conversations, because maybe that person is on someone else's list in another company with another product. And they've got the same enthusiasm, they've got the same excitement, they've got the same system and goal to get people enrolled or get them reconnected before the end of the year. So realize there's probably your people on your list or probably on other people's lists too.
Yeah, so one of the things
But
that I would say here on it too, on the importance of utilizing the time we still have left in 2025, because most people wait until January 1st to start looking at their New Year's goals or their New Year's resolutions. And then they start Googling. It's like, what's the best GLP-1, or what's the best collagen, or what's the best way for me to be able to get this or that, or what's the best way for me to start making some extra money. They do that on January 1st. And so if you reach out to them before January 1st, you may be able to help them make the right choice in utilizing our activation products, in starting a business with you and starting your community, those types of things, instead of them just taking basically rolling the dice and hoping they get lucky with the thing they find on Google, right? So it's important for you to utilize this last day and a quarter before we close out 2025 to reach out to all these people that you've been talking to or people you haven't reached out to yet, because you have an option for them that we know is better than what they'll find on Google, right? So don't miss out on using this time now.
Absolutely. And so here's the question that opens the doors. One question changes everything. How can we help you get started on your 2026 goals? Now, if it's health related, if it's financial related, if it's more freedom, if it's more travel time, if it's a side gig, an extra income, whatever it is, how can we help you get started on your 2026 goals? Because it's all about them and it aligns with their New Year's energy. Most people do create New Year's resolutions, whether they achieve them or not, whether they bow out on January 17th or not, their enthusiasm and their energy is right now, it's still high. Capitalize on that. Get them thinking, how can we help you get started on your 2026 goals? And it positions you as the guide, not the salesperson. So you're wanting to help them, something about them, and you can do it from with a total stranger. If you can do, obviously when the conversation is right, but most people, you're not starting cold calls. Most people, as we were talking about the slide previously, you're reconnecting with people who you've already started conversations with. And in some cases, you've extended the invitation, the follow-up, the tool. You've got them involved with a team member. They just haven't pulled the trigger. Just go back and reconnect with them. So it helps you be the guide, not the salesperson. And send 5 to 10 messages out before the end of the year. So today, to the rest of today and tomorrow. So they've got that. So when Google comes out and they're looking around, you've already greased the skids. You've already started the conversation. You've already got them thinking. And then your 2026 identity. We literally are becoming the kind of people who show up even when it's boring. Again, when you are in it to win it, and people have needs that we can help with, it will eventually, your posture will change, your confidence will change, your certainty will change, and you will show up even when it's boring, or even when you don't want to, or even when your willpower is on vacation, because your passion and purpose to desire to help people is still there. And do small things daily. Again, 1% better every day for a year, you are 38 times better than when you started. Little changes every day make big differences. And then just trust the process. This isn't rocket science. It's not psychology. It literally is just the human pattern. So trust that it's always been that way. It will always be that way. And let the systems create momentum. Well, no better system than our ITT. It's a proven system. We all know it. We can say it by habit, by memory. ITT, invite, tool, team. It doesn't need to be tested. It's already been tested. It's timeless. It always has worked. It always will work. So get used to that system and let it create momentum with the consistency that comes behind it, and then build something worth keeping. What better thing to build than a legacy that is built on a business model that helps people find financial freedom while they're getting healthier in the process, or helps people get healthy while they're building a side income in the process? Regardless of how you look at it, it's the same dual benefit, and you're building something worth keeping for you and for them. And it is just something, the more people you bless, the bigger your business grows in anything, especially here at LifeVantage. So build something worth keeping, like the relationships that grow deeper the more you work with people and the more freedom you allow them to have in the absence of health challenges with their body, and more financial security in their family and in their life.
All right, guys. So we would like to personally invite you to join us for a book review of James Clear's book, Atomic Habits. If you don't have it yet, I'm going to give you a QR code here shortly that you'll be able to go through to get it. But what this is going to be, right there, there's the QR code. Get your book here. January 6th, we're going to be covering the fundamentals. It's why tiny changes make a big difference. January 13 is going to be the first law, the make it obvious law that Dondee talked about previously. January 20th, the second law, make it attractive. Remember that Starbucks? And January 27th, the third law, making it easy. Starbucks has a Starbucks on almost every corner. They make it easy, don't they, right? They have them down. And then February 3rd, the fourth law, make it satisfying. And February 10th, advanced tactics, how to go from being merely good to being truly great. If you guys get to Amazon and if you get this ordered, they have it on discount right now, and they have it for overnight delivery if you have Amazon Prime. So go get your book so that you can get reading, that you can read through the fundamentals between now and January 6th. We're going to do a review on that. We're going to answer any questions that you have, and we are going to really, truly take 6 weeks of tiny changes that will result in remarkable results for each and every one of us in 2026. So we're super excited about this. Please screenshot this even and invite the people that you know that need to be on this review, and we're going to be doing it as part of the SC1 factory call for the next 6 weeks, okay? So it'll be the same ID number, it will be the same information for getting logged into this Zoom, but we're excited for this. We're excited for it for ourselves, but we're really excited to do this with you, because we know that if we can start the year out by developing these mini habits, I mean, it's so simple, it's gonna blow your mind. It could be this simple as he breaks it down for you, that you're gonna be so excited to move forward into 2026 towards identifying who you want to become, and then choose what habits you need to put in place to be able to become that person.